So every time I see someone or even myself profess their love for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, it is inevitably followed with one comment. Two comments, and that is that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is better than Volume 1. Now, as y'all could probably guess, this is a hard topic for me. It really splits my soul because both movies, well, they're fucking awesome and I love them both. I think Volume 1 will always be my favorite and special because that was my introduction to these characters. The magic in that movie can never really be replicated to me. In my opinion, it's still better than Volume 2. I think the plot is just a lot more sound in Volume 1. The seas of Morag drop low enough every 300 years to expose the temple, and so the time frame of all that are aware of the orb is plausible in why everyone would be after it at the time that they are. Whereas Ego just kind of coming out of nowhere and finding Peter after all these years in the exact perfect timing to save him, even after it was explained that Ego heard he held an Infinity Stone, I don't think it's unplausible, but not as tight as the first in my opinion. I don't really fault anybody for holding this opinion though, because I love both movies and I'm not really trying to waste my time arguing such trivialities, despite what this video is called. The one thing I'd say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is way more of is emotional. Okay, we go from all these scumbags kind of finding each other, bonding over shared loss and pain, and in the end becoming a family. And then in Volume 2, we see them fighting like a family in two senses, one with the Basilisk on the Sovereign planet to save the Annulax batteries.
They're called Harbulary batteries.
Like they were hired to do for the Sovereign, to just moments after retrieving Nebula from the High Priestess, getting chased and attacked because Rocket stole their batteries he didn't need and is fighting with Peter over who's the better pilot and nearly getting them all killed. It made for some really good space action, but once they hit the jump point and crash landed the Benatar, they are then confronted by Ego with the information that he is Peter's long lost father, what he's been looking for all of his life, right? We then contrast that with Yandu and on Contraxia as he looks somberly out the window of what looks essentially like a brothel planet. Okay, they're fucking robots. Robot hoes, baby. But this establishes Yandu's arc in the film by having his conflict with Stakar come to light about how they exiled Yandu and his Ravager faction from every other faction because of the fact he dealt in kids. Getting hired to take young Peter Quill to his father and then keeping him, like we learned in the last movie, which up until Volume 2, it was pretty much assumed by everyone that Yandu was a bad guy. Like, who does that? Only until later on in this film do we peel back the layers to the truth of the matter. But as with everything preceding horrible events, the Guardians decide to split up with Groot and Rocket, staying to watch over Nebula and repair the Benatar, and then Peter, Gamora, and Drax leaving to go with Mantis and Ego back to his planet so he can explain Peter's special heritage, which was that he was half celestial all along and had a connection to this mysterious energy called the light, which in a world where there are, cosmic magic rocks, I wouldn't say it's completely outrageous or bogus. I just thought it was kind of pointless and a weaker plot point in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, the ending fight was awesome, especially when, Chains started playing and Pac-Man and everything, and who knows, maybe they'll expand on some of that in Volume 3 next Thursday, which I need that movie in my soul. But it didn't really feel like Peter lost all that much with immortality or even his father. Like, he barely even knew him and he never cared about being immortal or any of that. But saying that there's nothing wrong with being just like everyone else is very endearing, so I don't really hang on to the faults too much because what Volume 2 lacks in plot, it makes up for in absolutely everything else. First off, the characters we've come to know all get amazing moments to shine and all, pretty much get expanded upon. We're in the second part of their arcs, so things naturally, or if you're a baller ass writer and director, well, they're going to hit harder. We have Gamora and Nebula's arc just coming together beautifully, from Gamora willing to turn her sister into Zendarian prison, then Nebula breaking free, flying all the way across the galaxy to Ego's planet just to try to kill her, which not only is this scene beautiful on the outside, but on the inside as well. You have Nebula trying to literally kill Gamora, crash landing, Gamora shooting her up, causing the ship to fall on Nebula, trapping her, and like any big sibling that goes way too far, she comes in to rescue her little sibling before it is too late, and then Nebula goes for the kill to finally win, but can't. Surface level, I love how it's just an exaggerated version of how any fight between siblings would go, so most people can relate on that core human level, but deeper than that, Nebula thought she wanted to kill her sister all along, but she ultimately knew she couldn't. She knew that that anger was misplaced, okay? She loves Gamora and Gamora loves her. All their hate stems from Thanos and living under his eye and being scared and pitted against each other all the time growing up. This is one of the first moments we see Nebula is not just some bad guy or some one-dimensional character. She, like many other people, are the way they are for a reason. They're hurt, they're in pain. So just seeing that kind of development for not only the character, but the relationship was absolutely amazing. And seeing that flourish into Nebula saving Gamora in the end, and then giving her a much needed hug, with her even reaching her arm around to hug back. Nebula finally starting to accept love, which can be very hard for some people in certain situations, you know? We also have Rocket just being an absolute douchebag in the beginning of the movie, being able to show off not only his brain, but his physical prowess against the Ravagers, which is awesome. We got an amazing action sequence. When him and Yandu get stuck together, it was when the wall started coming down. And, you know, also I love how Rocket is trying to claim he's doing this just to rub in Peter's face, just because he can't let himself do anything that might come off as nice or caring. And Yandu calls that shit out immediately and even reveals the lore about himself and his parents selling him into slavery as a child, which explains those rough edges and teeth. I know who you are because you're me. And that's just fucking beautiful. And then Rocket had some really beautiful moments in the end, not letting Gamora leave because he couldn't bear to lose another friend. And then when the colors of Accord are firing at Yandu's funeral, he was saying, you know, he didn't push them all away, even though he stole batteries he didn't need, which paired with the father-son song was just pure beauty, okay? Rocket is talking about himself here and is amazed and probably relieved that this happened to Yandu, but his friends didn't give up on him in the end. And it reassures him that even though he's been a dick because of his pain, you know, they won't just leave him. That's why Gunn ends with the last shot of this movie being Rocket, you know, kind of tearing up, shedding a tear. Although Drax and Mantis are used for the most part as comic relief, and I love it, they too get their chance to shine, with Drax reminiscing about his daughter and family, and then the empath in Mantis causing her to reach out and feel, and she feels and then externalizes all the sadness inside of Drax, which was astonishing to see how much pain he carries with him. Plus him semi-believing in Mantis in the end and having her put Ego to sleep, as well as carrying her to the ship. Just really good stuff. Baby Groot placing the detonator in Ego's core. Shit, even Kraglin gets his moment. But of course, the main character is Peter Quill and his relationship with his father. He obviously has always wanted this, but once you find out your father is a mad celestial who wants to copy himself all over the galaxy, destroying billions of lives, but it only took one that he had to destroy, and that was Ego revealing he was responsible for the tumor in Meredith Quill's head. And like any good son, Pete responds accordingly, has an epic showdown with Ego, and is almost destroyed along with him until the legendary Mary Poppins comes and swoops him up. He might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, reinforcing the whole theme of found family. Yandu redeems himself by saving Peter, in a way getting revenge for all the rest of Ego's kids and letting Peter know he loves him and he's sorry he could have been a better dad when raising him. I think that's a big part of being a parent that you realize when you get older, or you know, when you kind of become a parental type figure. Like, you're just constantly thinking, I hope I don't do something to give this little person a lifelong trauma or a bad core memory today. And I'm just an uncle, but that's like something that I think about often. Not only does that touch the heartstrings immediately, but it adds to what's come before. All this time he kept Peter alive because he cared about him. You know, fuck all that good for thieving shit that he was going on about. As soon as he heard what was happening to Ego's children, he wasn't gonna just give him over, and he didn't want Ego to send someone else to get him, so he raised him. He told Peter at the end of Volume 1 if he doesn't get the orb in the end to him, that he'll kill him and the Guardians of the Galaxy. But when he opens it in the end, he smiles like a proud father who taught his son well. I think we all, or most of us, have a figure like Yandu in our lives, you know, a fucked up, tough loving SOB, but one that is always there, and maybe it would would take the planet imploding to get it out of him, but he does really care. I think a lot of this movie is about breaking down the walls that are supposed to keep us safe, taking off the armor that's supposed to protect our hearts from pain but too weighs heavy on us and stops the flow of love from getting in the first place. Besides the just amazing soundtrack, humor, beautiful CGI and sets, great action sequences, seeing these characters as vulnerable as they were and through that find what they've been needing all along was absolutely everything. That's why I'm giving Guardians of the Galaxy a fluctuating 8.5 to 9 out of 10. I think for all its faults, it still delivers all you'd want in a film, and I'll love it absolutely forever. But let me know what you thought of the movie, guys. Is Volume 2 better than Volume 1 or vice versa? Let me know your thoughts and why. Next week is the week, players. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. One last ride is coming, and I'm ready to shit copious amounts of blood. I'm not ready, but I need that movie to come. It's gonna be so damn good. But let me know, guys. Let me know if you got your tickets. Are you seeing it this week? Let me know. But that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, comment down below, and if you want, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope all you guys are well, and I'll see you in the next one.